All right, so I've started the recordings. So this will be available if you miss any part of it, or if somebody misses today and they want to go back and read it. So I just want to say hello to everyone and welcome you to this webinar, accessibility features in the Microsoft products you use every day. I'm Donna Lewis. I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm the employee UX designer for North Carolina Department of IT. All right. And then we also have Microsoft here today and several other people I'll introduce in a minute to talk about all these things. So we're driving into some critical topics, right? The accessibility features that are embedded in Microsoft products. You can help us create a more inclusive digital government for all North Carolinians, okay? As public servants, it's our responsibility to ensure that our digital communications are accessible to everyone, including ourselves, right? So a lot of us have unregistered other abilities, as I call them. So we want to keep that in mind. Accessibility is not just a legal requirement. We got about a year and this law will kick in. We just need to ensure accessibility for digital communication to everybody in North Carolina. All right. So in doing so, let's empower ourselves with the knowledge and the skills needed to ensure our content is usable. Today, we can build a digital government that truly serves all citizens of North Carolina, right? And there's some simple steps you can take to do that. So let's get started. Is Ash with us today? You should be here, hopefully, Ash. Ash Nathaniel is from NCDIT as well. And if he's here, I'll have him say a couple words. Ash, are you there? Is anybody there that can hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. That's always good. Somebody asked if it's going to be recorded. Yes, we're going to record it. So I did hear from Ash yesterday. He said he's going to be on. Someone said he's filing his taxes. Probably so. I did mine last month. All right. How about Lori? Are you with us, Lori? Lori Allen is with Microsoft. And she's going to be talking. Oh, good. Yay. Response. I'm going to let you introduce yourself and your cohort if you'd like, enlighten us about these Microsoft hidden gems that we have out there that we don't know about. So I'll let you have it.
Awesome. Thank you, Donna. And I'm so thrilled to be here with all of you today. Let me pull up some slides here while I'm introducing myself. So my name is Lori Allen, and I lead our global commercial accessibility program here at Microsoft. So I sit on our central accessibility team, and my role is to help our enterprise customers along your accessibility journeys. From what we're doing today, making you aware of the accessibility features that are available in the Microsoft products that you already own, to build an inclusive environment for all of the employees within your organization. And then we'll talk about how to build accessible content, as Donna mentioned, so that we are making accessible experiences for everyone. And I think we've got folks from the Microsoft account team on, and my colleague Gabrielle is on as well, who will be helping us in the chat. So if you want to pop questions into the chat, she'll help answer those questions and provide any additional resources or links that you might find valuable. And then we can certainly open it up for Q&A towards the end. So as we're getting started today, just a few things to make the meeting more accessible. If you need to zoom in on the screen or on the chat, you can use the magnifier tool. You can press your Windows key and plus sign to zoom in. Windows key and escape will get you out. You can go to your More menu at the top of your screen and select Speech and Language to turn on live captions. And that will turn captions on just for you, not for the entire meeting. Underneath the slide that you're looking at, there's another more actions, 3 dots that you can select, and you can turn on high contrast if that works better for you. I'm presenting today using PowerPoint Live, which makes a more inclusive experience as well. You can page through the slides at your own pace. So if you miss something, you can go back and look at the slide. And also, if you're using a screen reader, by using PowerPoint Live, a screen reader should be able to read out the content, whereas if you just share your screen and show your slides, a screen reader can't interact with the content. So as we're getting started, our mission here at Microsoft is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. And by every person, we mean every person, regardless of ability. And I like to start by level setting who we're talking about when we talk about the disability community. There are 1.3 billion people in the world who have a disability, and 75% of those disabilities are non-apparent or invisible. And I'll use myself as an example. I think often when we think of disability, we think of permanent visible disability. For example, I'm a quadriplegic. I have some arm function. I have no hand function at all, and I use a wheelchair. So I have a visible permanent disability. But again, 75% people who might be neurodivergent, someone with a learning disability, someone who's hard of hearing. There are many people that we interact with every single day who have a disability we're not aware of. 83% of us are going to experience a disability at some point. You may sprain your wrist and need to use speech to text for a period of time. And if we're lucky enough, we're all going to age into disability. As we get older, we experience a reduction in vision or a reduction in hearing. As my colleague Dave Dame says, we're all going to be disabled at some point. It's just some of us beat you to it. And 1 in 5 people are neurodivergent. And if you narrow that down to Gen Z, it's 53%. And 70% of Gen Alpha identify as neurodivergent. So this is our workforce, and it's the future of our workforce. And we believe that accessibility is a fundamental right. It breaks down barriers and opens doors for everyone. So let's dive in to some of the productivity tools that you've got available. And these, I'll call out some that are specific to Windows 11. So if you're on Windows 10, many of these are still available. We just added a few more in Windows 11. And I'll start in Windows in the operating system itself. So in Windows, you can increase your text size in your accessibility settings and make it larger. You can adjust your mouse pointer. So I've got my mouse pointer set to be larger and pink. It makes it easier for me to see. It makes it easier for others to see when I'm doing demonstrations. Narrator is a built-in screen reader built right into the operating system. Many people who use screen readers will use a third party like JAWS or NVDA, which are great products, but we do have one built right into the operating system. Live captions is another great feature. Of course, we've got captions in Teams, but we also have captions in Windows. And so if you turn on your live captions in your Windows settings, it's going to caption any audio coming through your laptop. Even as you're toggling through apps, caption stays with you. I mentioned a magnifier, but again, you can zoom in anywhere on your screen using your Windows key and plus sign, and you can set the magnification in your Windows settings. So if you go into your Windows settings, you can specify what percentage you want to zoom into. So for example, mine is set to 150%. Contrast themes is a great feature that enables you to change the color palette again across your entire laptop. And there are predefined themes. So think of more muted color palettes like grayscale, dark mode. But you can also customize those contrast themes to whatever colors work best for you. In addition, we have a feature called color filters. And this was originally designed for people with color blindness. So you can go into color filters and select your specific type of color blindness, and it will adjust the color palette to be appropriate for your specific needs. And we've added some in Windows 11, so think grayscale. We've added that into color filters. Voice access is a tool that I use every day. If you're on Windows 10, it's called speech recognition, but voice access is what we added in Windows 11. It's the same functionality, just built on a little bit more modern technology stack. And this enables me to use my voice to navigate my laptop. I can open applications, close them, toggle through applications, and convert speech to text. I can do all of it just using my voice. Focus mode is a feature we added into Windows 11, It's one that I should probably use a little bit more frequently, but it enables us to either schedule or start a focus mode on the fly. And it basically mutes all of the disruptions that we get, all of the chats that pop up, email notifications that pop up. It basically puts us into a do not disturb mode. And if you have a Spotify account, you can link your Spotify account to your focus mode. And when you go into focus mode, it will automatically start playing your Spotify playlist. Windows H key is another really easy way to convert speech to text. So if I'm in any application, I can press Windows and H and it's going to open up dictation for me, and I can start speaking and it's going to convert speech to text. In Windows 11, if you press Windows and U key, so Windows plus U, it automatically takes you to your accessibility features or your accessibility settings in Windows. Moving over into PowerPoint, we've got a great tool called Designer, and it was built, again, for people like me with mobility disabilities. And if I am creating a PowerPoint presentation, rather than focusing on making the slides pretty, Designer does that work for you. So it's leveraging AI to consume the content and suggest design ideas for you. And as you continue to add content, it continues to refine the design to best align with your content. Translator, we don't maybe think of translation as an accessibility feature, but if I'm creating content in English for people who are native Spanish speakers, it might be a little bit more difficult for them to consume. So we've got Translator actually through several of our products, not only PowerPoint, but it's also in Outlook and Word. Dictate is a great tool that I've got a little demo that I'll show you in just a few slides, but basically it's just, again, another way to convert speech to text. And we have that throughout many of our products. Rehearse with Coach is a great feature that I find many people aren't aware of. So if you experience anxiety when you're giving a presentation to a large audience, you can go into Rehearse with Coach mode first, and it will put you into presentation mode. You can talk through your slides. It's going to give you real-time feedback. Things like you're speaking too quickly, you're using filler words, you're reading your slides. And then at the end, it gives you a comprehensive report. Moving into Outlook, again, some really great features here. Read aloud is a feature that we have through several of our applications, and it will do just that. It will read out text. It's not as comprehensive as a screen reader, but this is one I'll use sometimes if I have a long document that I'm struggling to get through. I'll turn on Read Aloud just to help with my reading comprehension. Immersive Reader is another one I've got a great demo for in just a couple of slides, so I'll skip that one for now. But then moving over into Excel, there's some great new features here. One is dark mode. I love dark mode as my eyeballs are getting a little bit older. I find dark mode works really well for me, and we've just introduced that in Excel. We also have a really cool feature now called Focus Cell, and it will basically highlight the row and the column that I'm on, so that it's easy for me to see what cell I'm in the spreadsheet. Also in Excel, we just added translate language. So you can translate the language in Excel, and it will also detect language if it's not your primary language. And then I won't go through these again, but I like to give you a couple of different ways to think about how to find accessibility features in our products. And we've got lots and lots of links at the end of this deck so that you can go and explore and learn more. But on our support site, we have, of course, accessibility features by application, but we also have them by disability category. And at Microsoft, when we're building accessibility features during the design phase of the product development lifecycle, we think across 6 categories: vision, hearing, mobility, neurodiversity, mental health, and learning. So for example, I can go out to our support site and go to the mobility section, and I can find all of the features that are available to support my specific type of disability. One application that I will highlight here is called Seeing AI. And this is a smartphone app. It's available on Android and iPhone. It came out of our Microsoft research group, and it was built with and for the blind and low vision community. And it basically narrates the world around us. It can read text, it can read signs, it can identify objects in a room, it can tell me what currency I'm holding, it can read barcodes. Recently, they just added a feature called Find My Things. So if I lose my keys frequently, I can take a picture of my keys, store it in the app, And then if I can't find my keys, I can open up the app, scan the room. It's going to find my keys, and then it's going to give me spatial audio cues to guide me to my keys. Another really interesting feature is if I'm in a restaurant, I can scan a menu and then I can query. So it will not only read out what's on the menu, but I can say what vegetarian items are on this menu, and it's going to call out the vegetarian items for me. So it's a really great tool that is used widely by the blind and low vision community. Moving over into Teams, we've got some great features in Teams that we've added over the past few years. And I love to tell some of the product stories behind them. So I'll start with sign language view. This, again, came out of the disability community. So on our product teams within Microsoft, we have accessibility architects, many of whom have a disability. So they're bringing their own lived experience into the design of our products. And sign language view is a great example. One of our accessibility architects on the Teams team is deaf and uses a sign language interpreter. He would join a call and there's 70 people on the call. Everyone's got their cameras on. He's paging through trying to find his interpreter to pin her. And now he's missed a couple of minutes of the meeting. So now what he can do is specify his sign language interpreter in his Teams settings. So anytime she joins the call with him, she's automatically pinned in a larger high resolution window in the same spot on his screen every time. We also added custom backgrounds. One is Blur that I'm using today. Blur also came out of the disability community. We have another engineer who's deaf and she reads lips. And when she would join a call, she would ask people to dim the lights behind them. So it was easier for her to focus on reading their lips. She brought that idea to a hackathon and out of it came Blur. And we've also gotten great feedback from the neurodiversity community that it helps during calls so they're not so distracted by what's behind the speaker. I mentioned PowerPoint Live. We're presenting PowerPoint Live today. And then coming soon are some really interesting features. One is an interpreter feature. So basically what will happen is if I'm speaking English and you're a native French speaker, you can hear what I'm saying in French, even though I'm speaking in English, and vice versa. Transcriptions will also support multilingual meetings soon. And we've got a few features with Copilot specifically, but it will be able to recap visual content that's presented on the screen. So let me actually turn my sound on here. And I've got a quick little video that will demo Immersive Reader for you. Immersive Reader was built originally for people who are dyslexic. It supports lots of different learning disabilities. And again, it's one that I might turn on not to support a specific disability, but just to improve my reading comprehension. So let me start this and give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio when it starts. Thank you. Awesome. And Donna, I'm going to pause just a moment. Donna, if you're the meeting organizer, can you give Gabrielle Haber access to the chat? She's not able to respond to questions in the chat. And then I saw one question about, can you mute the ding noise from the chat? So if you go into just your regular Teams, by the meeting chat, there's 3 dots to give you more options. You can click on the 3 dots and click mute, and that will mute the dinging for you. Okay, just a couple more real short demos. This is for Dictate in Word. And as I mentioned, we've got Dictate through several of our applications. And this will just show you how to use Dictate in Word. Excellent. And Gabrielle, I see your hand up.
I do. Sorry, everyone. I don't have access to chat, but I did just want to flag. So because Lori is sharing live, I noticed a few people weren't able to hear the audio. And that is likely because if you were to hover your mouse over the presentation that Lori is sharing, when she does play something, you'll actually see a little audio icon. Sometimes for folks, it'll auto mute. And so you can just click that button and control the audio yourself, and you can either make it louder or make it lower. And so I just wanted folks to know that, so that if we share a video again, you could just hover over that kind of presentation that Lori has, and you should see that little audio icon.
Excellent. Thanks, Gabrielle. All right, last one. Just a quick little one on Read Aloud. And again, Read Aloud is available through several of the applications. This is how it works in Word. All right. And the reason I like to show these demos specifically is because I think these are great examples of tools that everyone can benefit from. Often when we build with the disability community, everyone benefits. Live captions is a great example. We created live captions for people who are deaf or hard of hearing, but how many of us have used live captions? In fact, I saw a statistic in the US, 50% of people watch their videos with captions on. And again, if you narrow it down to the younger generations like Gen Alpha, it's more like 80%. So a great example of when we build for one, we extend to many. And now I'm going to shift gears a little bit, because while it's super important to understand what productivity tools that we have available for all of us to use, I think it's equally important to understand how to build accessible content. We've got colleagues, constituents, customers that we engage with every single day who, again, have a non-apparent disability that we're not aware of. So it should fall to all of us to build accessible content to make it more inclusive for everyone. And so I'll give you just a few tips and tricks, again, for how to build accessible content. And I seem to be missing a few slides here. I'm not sure why. So I'm going to talk through just a few ways in the applications, and apologies that the slides seem to be missing. But I'll talk through a few ways that you can make a content more accessible and then how to check to make sure your content's more accessible. So in Word, if you're using built-in styles, for example, you're using headers, those are accessible by design. So a screen reader can navigate and move through the document by using the headers as landmarks. And so, for example, rather than just highlighting text and bolding it, actually go into those styles and select heading, and that will notate that content as a header. Also, low contrast is a common issue that we see when people are creating PowerPoint presentations or Word documents. So if you're typing yellow font, like pale yellow font on a white background, that's going to be very difficult for someone who has low vision to see, or someone who might be neurodivergent. And in Word and PowerPoint, we've got the option to toggle on high contrast colors only. So when you go into your font color, toggle that high contrast on, and that's going to enable you to select a contrast that everyone will be, it will be a more inclusive experience for people. In PowerPoint, there's an option to select reading order. So what I mean by reading order in PowerPoint is the order in which you want each element on the slide read out. So for example, if I have 2 images and 2 blocks of text, I can order those in the order that I want them read out by a screen reader. On PowerPoint, make sure that each slide has its own title, so a unique title. And if you've got images in any documents or emails or PowerPoint presentations, you want to add what's called alternative text. And that's just a description of what is in the image. And that's what's going to be read out by a screen reader. And again, it's real easy to do. When you put an image into PowerPoint or Word, PowerPoint or Word will add that alt text itself. So it will leverage AI to create alternative text. Now, it's not going to be perfect, so please do go in and check it, but it will get you part of the way there. In Outlook is a little bit different in that you need to toggle that option on in your accessibility settings, but it's on by default in Word and PowerPoint. So those are just a few tips and tricks. And again, apologies that my slides are not here. Before we share this deck out, I will add my slides in. And then just a few tips in Excel. When you're in Excel, and I know it's really tricky in Excel because we get these really complex spreadsheets, but where possible, avoid merging cells, avoid nesting tables. And along the bottom, when you've got all your different worksheets, make sure each worksheet has an individual or a unique title, and that you don't have extra worksheets that are not being used, because again, it's just more clutter for a screen reader user. And we've got a really great way to check for accessibility throughout our products. In Windows 10 and in some versions of Windows 11, you may still have accessibility checker. So before you send your email out or a Word document or PowerPoint, be sure and run accessibility checker. And it's going to flag all the issues that I'm just talking about, low contrast, missing alt text, things like that, and give you the opportunity to fix those before you send out your content. But what's coming out, and you may already have it, is called Accessibility Assistant. It brings accessibility checking to the forefront. It works similar to how spell check works today. So today, if you misspell a word, you immediately get that angry red squiggly line underneath the word. The accessibility assistant is going to work in the same way. So if I introduce, let's say, a color contrast issue in Word, I've got yellow font on a white background. It's immediately going to pop up an accessibility icon. When I click on that icon, it's going to tell me that I've got a color contrast issue. It's going to explain what that means and how to correct it. And in this example, it's going to give me a complementary color palette of high contrast colors that I can choose from to resolve the issue. And then the icon will disappear. Same thing if I'm missing alt text, it's going to pop up that icon. When I click on it, it's going to open a window for me to add the alt text in right then and there. So I don't have to remember to test on the back end and run accessibility checker. We're putting it right into the forefront of accessibility checking. We've also just rolled it out for SharePoint. So within your organization, If you are creating SharePoint pages, we've got Accessibility Assistant built right in. So it'll be on the right-hand side by your tools. And again, it will give you an indicator that you've got an accessibility issue and how to correct it. And it's going to look for things like page structure, alt text, blank links, tables missing headers, and color contrast issues. So we're very excited that these tools have rolled out to help us build inclusive content for everyone. And then finally, we've got lots of accessibility resources that are available for you. And it starts with our Ask Microsoft Accessibility. So this is a generative AI chatbot that we introduced last year. And you can actually, because we're in PowerPoint Live, you can click on the link right now. But again, we'll make sure that we get it to you. But this is a generative AI chatbot that you can reach out and ask a question about any accessibility feature in the Microsoft products. If you've got an issue with an accessibility feature, something's not working correctly, you've got a question, you want to engage with somebody, you can reach out to our Enterprise Disability Answer Desk. So if you're, even if it's a third-party product, like if it's JAWS screen reader not working well with Microsoft Word, you can reach out to this Enterprise Disability Answer Desk and they can address any of those questions as well, because we've got great relationships with many of the third-party assistive technology providers. And so and this is not, you don't have to go through HR, you don't have to go through IT. We want people to be able to reach out directly to the Enterprise Disability Answer Desk, or EDAD as we call it, because we don't want people to feel like they have to disclose a disability they're not comfortable disclosing. Our Disability Answer Desk is our consumer version of the support service. So if you're at home this weekend playing with your adaptive Xbox game controller and it's not working well, reach out to Dad. If you're at work and experiencing an issue with or have a question about an accessibility feature, reach out to EDAD. Even if you have an idea for how something could work better, I would love this product even more if it did X. That's something that can go through EDAD as well. And these are free services. This is a free support service available for everyone. And then we've got lots of really great accessibility training that's available. Last year, we rolled out Accessibility 101. So at Microsoft, accessibility training is mandatory for every employee. When you onboard at Microsoft, it's one of the first required trainings. And we've now introduced a brand new one called Accessibility 101 that's available. It's out on YouTube. Again, you can click on the link here or we'll send it to you. And it's about a 15 to 20 minute training. And it's really comprehensive and it's a great training to take advantage of. We also have what's called Accessibility Fundamentals. And this is a much more in-depth set of training modules. There's 6 modules. And last year, we made it available via a SCORM package. So this is something you could upload right into your own learning management system to track and badge. But it is available, again, for free out on our Microsoft Learn site. And I've provided the link here. And then just to wrap up, as I mentioned, we've got lots of links for you to go and explore and learn more as productivity tools by application and by category, how to build accessible content, how to conduct inclusive meetings, so some tips and tricks for conducting inclusive meetings. And then we've got a lot of learning opportunities on Microsoft Learn and out on LinkedIn. And we will share this out. We'll get all these links out to you. And so I'd love to open the floor for any questions that you have, or if there are features that you're using. I saw a couple of comments in the chat. Some of the features you're using, we'd love to hear how you're using them and what works well for you. And I see a couple of hands up, Edward. So I think Edward has got your hand up and you can come off mute, and I can't see the others that are up.
I am not sure it will let them come off mute.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Let me see. Try now, Ed.
Yeah, it's Don, this is Ash. Because it's external, it might be a challenge. I'm trying to unmute as well. Let's see.
Or maybe if you just want to put it into the chat.
Yeah, if you can use your chat, please.
Well, it's good that we get an opportunity to try things on our end, Ash, so we can see the improvements we need.
Testing in real time.
Yeah,
And I
it's
saw
good.
one question about Microsoft Teams Live. Accessibility for Microsoft Teams Live. So the same feature should be available in Teams Live, as far as I know. And Gabrielle, come off mute if that's not accurate.
No, you are correct. Yeah. So the same feature should be available here today in this meeting because we are in Teams Live.
Okay, and chat's coming quick. Used to be able to hover over theme and standard colors in Office apps and have the name of the color display. This seems to be gone. Is this a setting? I don't know that it's a setting. That's something we'd have to look into. So Gabriella and I can make a note of that.
Will this presentation be sent out? Yes.
And then Sharon saying that she uses the designer option on PowerPoint and high contrast and dark mode. Some of my favorites as well. I love designer. I just feel like designer is so great. Nobody wants to spend time, drawing circles and squares on a PowerPoint slide. They want to spend their time building robust content. So I think it's a great option. And another really interesting use case for PowerPoint, I've got a colleague who's blind, and he says that for the first time he's able to create, professional, beautiful PowerPoint presentations without a sighted assistant. So really great example of how designer benefits, a lot of people.
I do have a suggestion.
I have allowed the mic. There was a setting for the participants that was turned off. If you guys
Okay.
can unmute now, please, and see if you can ask your question.
And then just still going through the chat, Rakna, which screen reader works best on Microsoft products? All of them
Yes.
should work well. So we partner very closely with like JAWS and NVDA specifically to make sure that those screen readers work really well with our products. And in fact, several people on our EDAD team are screen reader users. So they are testing every single day with JAWS and NVDA.
Yeah, sometimes I is in the Outlook emails, I use JAWS, and then when I press down arrow key, it says word blank after every line.
Okay, that is a great example of something you could send to EDAD to get help with. And I'm going to put, Gabrielle, do you mind putting their email into the chat? Oh, you
Okay.
can't. Never mind.
Yeah, so
No,
sorry.
I can do it. I can do it.
I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah, Edward, you should be able to unmute yourself now and ask the question.
I can say one problem that I've run into is we use a very specific theme for our PowerPoints here, and getting the designer to cooperate with that theme, right? So it'll generate the images and the slides, and they're pretty, but when I go to try to convert them over into our existing theme that we have to use, it loses quite a bit of the visual appeal that it had.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I've noticed recently, but I still like using it because it has some great ideas.
Right. Yeah, at least gives you ideas for structure.
Exactly. Yeah. And I use the closed captioning in meetings as well. And I find that it really helps me because I do have ADHD. I do have, so concentrating, sitting still, big challenges for me. But having those words to go back and review if I need to has really been helpful. And I have it turned on automatically. So it's like comes up in every meeting. So I don't have to think about it.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. That is a feature that you can toggle on in your settings so that it will just automatically start for you. So thank you for mentioning that.
Does anybody else have anything that they use?
I think, yeah, we have two hands raised. I think one is for Edward. And then I have Darlene.
Hi there. One thing I wanted to share in Microsoft Teams, can you hear me?
Yes.
We
Yes.
can.
Oh, okay, very good. So in Microsoft Teams, we have an employee that has a voice disability and he has to whisper. And we were having trouble hearing him in Microsoft Teams. And what we found out was the problem, his noise suppression was on, and it thought that his whispering was background noise, and we could not hear him. He had to take the noise suppression off so that it would pick up. He uses an amplifier, but that helped for it to pick it up so that we could actually hear him. So I didn't know if you'd ever had anybody comment on that. I thought it might be helpful for you to know that.
That is incredibly helpful. I have not heard that before. So thank you for sharing that. And I can't talk a lot about it yet, but we've got some features that are going to be coming out in Teams relatively soon that will help with speech disfluency. So he'll have some options coming up soon. And for anyone who might have, who stutters or has any kind of speech disfluency, we've got some features coming out really soon that we're very excited about.
Well, that's great to hear. Thank you very much.
All right. Anybody else have any comments? Well, I personally want to thank you, Lori, for being here. And I just, we really appreciate the information you've given us. And I'm sure that we will all use it on a daily basis. I know I learned a few things, so that's good. Amy, are you with us? Would you like to talk about our accessibility community of practice?
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you again, Lori and Gabrielle for coming and sharing the new, existing, and upcoming accessibility features in Microsoft. And thank you all for joining today's webinar on accessibility features in the Microsoft products that you use. We've explored how Microsoft's built-in accessibility tools can help us and create content that serves everyone, our coworkers, constituents, and the broader public. Throughout the session, we've seen how simple changes like alternative text, using the built-in headings, ensuring proper color contrast, and leveraging the built-in features like the accessibility checker can really make a significant impact. These are small steps, but they lead to big improvements in usability and inclusion. And why does it matter? I mean, as Lori mentioned at the beginning of her presentation, accessibility is a fundamental right. It isn't about a checkbox or a compliance requirement. It's about people. It's about making sure that everyone, regardless of their ability, can interact with the digital services that we create that power our state government. So when we design for accessibility, we improve that experience for everyone. But our conversation doesn't end here. Accessibility, it's an ongoing journey, and you don't have to navigate it alone. I invite you to join our North Carolina's Accessibility Community of Practice. It's a growing network of professionals dedicated to making digital government truly inclusive. Whether you're new to accessibility or you're a seasoned advocate, our COP is a space to share knowledge, collaborate, and stay informed of best practices. And if you're interested in hearing again from Lori and Gabrielle, or find you have additional questions after this webinar, maybe after you watch the recording, they are graciously coming to our May Community of Practice meeting to present again. So I encourage you to sign up and join us. Again, thank you for being part of this important discussion today. And let's take what we've learned and put it into action, because accessibility is for everyone. And let's build a digital government that truly serves all North Carolinians. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate everybody's time today, that you came out to spend a couple minutes with us and learn a few things. We have these accessibility community of practice meetings every month. So, and we do record them as well. So we have many different people throughout the North Carolina government that have joined, but we also have a few guests that come from other government agencies and other states. And we try to have informative information every month, but we're always looking for content. If there's something you would like to know about or hear about, we would be glad to include that. Does anybody else have anything? Ash, did you want to add anything today?
No, thank you. We are, I can tell you from a Microsoft 365 services perspective, from a collaboration, we are taking the journey for Microsoft Copilot. And I know, Lori, there'll be a lot of features coming out from an accessibility standpoint over there as well. So there'll be definitely more information coming on this topic and how AI can be used in the Microsoft 365 space.
Excellent. If anybody has any questions, please send me an email or Ash or Amy, and we'd be glad to answer it as best we can. And everybody have a great day. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everyone.
Yep, thanks everybody. Hey Ash, hey Donna, this is
Thank you.
Kenley.
Thank
Great
you.
presentation, really appreciate it. You may have seen in the post that we'll put a PDF with the active links in the chat, and I think that makes it accessible for most. I think it still works like that in the events. And I'll reach out. I've got a few questions that came in, and I'll reach out specifically to you all, okay?
Thank you so much, Ms. Karen.
Yeah, speak to you later. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.